Hey, this is Tony Wiggins with another episode of Locked On Jaguars. Not a victory Monday. We got some things to talk about, man. Folks are saying, bench Trevor? Man, y'all got to be bugging. We're going to get into it today here on Locked On Jaguars. Just a second.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is happening, folks? Not a victory Monday. 23-17 loss yesterday in Indianapolis for Jacksonville. And this is your Monday Locked On Jaguars podcast, and we thank you for joining us and making us your first listen. Look, if you're watching on YouTube, man, you got to excuse my eyes. My allergies acted up. I tried to get this recording done early, but it looked like I had been in a boxing match with Mike Tyson. So pardon my eyes being a little bit swollen from my allergies bothering me all night. But I'm here, and you guys have me. You guys also have a football team that's learning how to fight, a football team that defensively looks like they've started to really turn the corner. And you noticed that yesterday in Indy. I won't do a play-by-play of the game and do highlights and lowlights. I won't do that. I'll tell you what we're going to get into today, though. Folks thinking that Trevor Lawrence needs to get benched. It's the weirdest thing ever. Fans will turn on you so fast that he's not ready. But sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture and see what's really going on with the team. We'll talk about the offensive woes in the second segment of the day. And then the third segment, I want to talk about, I always talk about team building and how do you get talent. Everyone knows what the team needs. The team needs wide receivers. The team needs people that separate. But here's the thing. Along the way, they're going to run into some other interesting players and some interesting opportunities. Folks have to understand that you can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. All right. You can do two things at the same time. The biggest thing you need to do is make sure you always get the best player that you can within reason. We're going to talk about team building in the third segment because on social media, it got hot and heavy. And I think some people don't understand that you can do multiple things at one time. So we'll discuss that. But back to the Jaguars here on a Monday. Valiant effort, 23-17. Lost to the Colts. Really poor start. Got behind by 17 points and battled back. Really battled back and looked like they had an opportunity to get the momentum and try to win the game down the stretch. But from last week when we talked, I said that Jonathan Taylor is really good and he's going to get some yards, but you shouldn't sell out everything you had to try to stop him. The Jaguars didn't. And guess what? He got loose early and he ran. And one of the things that I said from last week was, so what? So what? Let him get loose. I mean, you don't let him, but try. But at some point, y'all got to buck up and figure out how to stop people, right? At some point, you have to be the resistance on the offensive line. And it seemed like from midway through the second quarter for the rest of the game, that's exactly what the Jaguars did. I don't think they changed anything schematically. I think they said, okay, if that's the way y'all want to go, that's the way we just got to play better. We got to play better. But what we are not going to do is allow the Indianapolis Colts to beat us over the top. We're not going to let you get these guys. We're not going to let you get easy points. If you want to run Jonathan Taylor all day, go ahead and run him all day. But at some point, we're going to start stopping him because we're going to get used to this. And we're going to start whooping your offensive line. And we're going to start presenting some challenges for you. And that's exactly what happened. So kudos to Joe Cullen for having that team ready to play yesterday. And kudos to the players on defense. Josh Allen continues to look like a guy who deserved to be a top 7 pick. And once you keep stringing these games together, it sort of means like you've arrived. You know what I'm saying? Because of, like I said, we always talk about demonstrated performance. And he's done it for multiple weeks now. So now it's going to be an expectation that people have that he's going to be able to play that way. Trevor Lawrence, he struggled. He looked like a rookie. And this isn't the first occasion that this has happened. This has happened multiple times this year where he's looked like a rookie. Here's the thing, though. That's what he is. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to, you can only elevate people around you so much. And as of right now, they've done all the elevating they can with the talent that surrounds him. That's it. The bottom line is when you look at the plays, whether it's all 22 or when you look at the film, the tape, the YouTube videos, or even videos on Twitter, the one thing you'll see is nobody's getting open. It's not like he's missing receivers. All right. He's trying to make great throws on every single play because these guys aren't open. And then those guys can't win. So everyone in the fan base knows that the Jaguars whiffed and really did not do a good job of adding superior playmakers, whether they bid it too low, whether they didn't target certain guys, whether they thought that they could get a certain type of player and through their coaching and scheming that they could get more out of a guy. Thought they may be able to make lemonade out of a bag of onions, and you can't do it. The NFL isn't that. It's that a little bit, but the thing about the NFL, just like big time college football, you have to have guys who are talented. And it's not necessarily just fast guys, even though that's what you prefer. With wide receivers, you want guys that just know how to win. They win at the release point. They win during the route when they stack when they stack on top of the DBs, and they win with catch radius, and they win when the ball is in the air by attacking the ball. I'll give you a perfect example. The receiver that everybody wants on their wish list is Davante Adams, and Davante Adams is not fast. So it kills me. Get fast guys, get fast guys, get fast guys, and get Davante Adams. Well, Davante Adams isn't fast. Nuke Hopkins, the guy's been beat. He beat on Jaguars for almost his entire career when he was in Houston. He ain't fast either. They know how to win. They know how to release. They know how to run routes. They're a little bit slower than some of these fast guys y'all are talking about, but the thing about them, they have a navigation system. They know how to manipulate you, and then they know how to let the quarterback know when they're going to be open. They're the greatest gift for a quarterback you can. They're good football players. That's what the Jaguars need at wide receiver. I don't care if it's Cortland Sutton. I don't care if it's Chris Godwin. Both of those guys, they run decently, but they're not burners. They're not track dudes, but they're good football players. And those are the guys that the Jaguars want, or the Jaguars fans want anyway. So when we talk about fast guys, what Trevor needs are guys that can win. He needs guys that can win at the receiver position. And it's a battle every single down because these cornerbacks are always out there fighting for their lives. That's why they call it the hot corner. They call it that for a reason. These dudes are trying to get it. These dudes are absolutely trying to get it. I'm going to talk about more of the offensive deficiencies of this football team. And if they're set up for this defense to actually, are they set up for this defense to actually carry them moving forward for the rest of the season? And what are they going to do? What are they going to do in terms of trying to add more talent in offseason? So we'll try to use the second segment as a segue to what I think they should do and what I think they should avoid in terms of trying to get guys that can win and help this football team moving forward. And I'll talk to you about it in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars after I tell you about DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You got one device that lets you catch the game live and another that lets you stream your favorite shows. Are you watching sports highlights using all of these different apps and on your telephones? Well, you know what? You need to get your TV together and have a simple way of doing that with all of your entertainment, and you can get that done at DirecTV Stream. Now, you go to directv.com and find out all the information that you can about DirecTV Stream. And one thing you'll find out is you're going to get your TV together because everything's going to be in one location. Get rid of all of the passwords, all of the different devices, and all of the clutter by using DirecTV Stream. Now, there's no annual contract, and you need a compatible device in order to receive the contents of this package. But DirecTV Stream is the way to go. Make sure you call directv.com, ask about DirecTV Stream, and get your TV together. Allergies still raging and bothering your boy, so excuse the occasional wiping of the eye if you're watching on YouTube. Let's get back to talking about the Jaguars and what they need on offense and how you fix the offense. Just because you want and need something doesn't mean that it's going to be adequately there when it's time for you to draft or when it's time for you to sign free agents. You can't get caught up in wanting to address your wants and needs so bad that you forget that every single year you have to improve your football team. So we got to start thinking like a good organization, even if you're not a good organization. Some people call it having a luxury of being able to make certain selections and certain picks. I don't call it that at all. I call it staying true and staying sound to who you are and what you do. So let's just assume that the Jaguars are a good offensive team and they're winning and the receivers are winning and they're a 12-win team, right? And they come up for the draft or they come up for free agency. If they have money and if they have cap space, why would you neglect or why would you reject the notion that they're just going to take the best player available and regardless of his position, except quarterback? You can't just stockpile quarterbacks. We get that. But they're going to take the best player available, even if he's just a small, slight upgrade to a unit that they think is okay, right? That's what you do. It's also what you should do when you're a bad team, believe it or not. Because here's my point. If you have a serious needed wide receiver, and you're sitting there at number 3, and you can't find anyone to trade down for you to get more capital. And I know people, they balk at trading down. They go, well, if you trade down, you're still getting less of a player. Yeah, but you're getting something back that's going to help you. You're getting more currency. You're getting more shots. You get more things to spend. You're going to fix your position, and then you're going to get more assets to also allow you to pepper around your team and try to fortify your team. So I get that. Because the point I'm going to make is about not taking a lesser player. So I had to preface that by saying, this. If you trade down, you're probably going to be taking a lesser player anyway. Or you're trading down because you feel like everyone else values a bunch of people that you don't. And you're targeting somebody. But either way, the reason why I think they should take the best player available, and I said this yesterday. I know they need wide receivers. We looked at the game. You saw this game, and you knew the Jaguars need wide receivers. But I made a comment yesterday about the offensive line down the stretch. My comments aren't necessarily meant for folks to think that I'm reacting or that they need to react to what's going to happen tomorrow or next week. Here's my overall comment, and here's my thought process on team building. I imagine one day they're going to be winning, just like I said earlier. They're a 12, 13-win team. I imagine we're standing there watching our team every single week as a winning organization. Then I imagine me thinking, how did we get here? The most likely way that happens, whatever I come across, whatever thinking I come across at that point, is what I'm now teleporting back to real me right now and says, this is what they need to do. I'm not saying that 3 years from now, if they're good and I go, how did we get here? What I'm telling you is I know I won't say this because they drafted Chris Olave at number 4 or they drafted Evan Neal at number 4. I won't say that. What I'll say to myself is because they kept drafting the best possible player or getting the best possible players they could. And eventually what'll happen is it'll figure itself out. I always do this exercise. Every great player you pass up because of need, what if they get traded to your rival? What if they all went to the Titans? You'll never beat them. And here's the thing about not taking players that you know are better because you're reaching for positions. You're trying to fill squares. Okay? Here's what happens. You have to beat those players that you pass. And I don't understand why people don't get this. Well, we didn't get them, so no big deal. You already got enough built in why you're not getting good players because you can't get them all anyway. It's not recruiting. Why would you pass up people when you've literally won 3 football games in 2 years? It makes no sense. So when we look at the offense yesterday, the offense is struggling. And I just made mention of the offensive line. Here come the wide receiver position people. We don't need to address anything until we address the wide receivers first. I didn't say you don't need to address the wide receivers. I made a comment about the offensive line. Here's a fact. If they were better, even though they're solid, if they were better, you could still lean behind them. You know what you could do? Run the damn ball all day and try to win a game. We've seen it happen in the past. We've seen we've seen teams that couldn't throw the ball just figure out we're just going to smash them in the mouth and we're going to beat them. To get you a win to get out of the door. Don't tell me they don't need to be upgraded because they do, and everybody knows that. Hey, one dude on that offensive line, all pro. And if you're looking at a guy in the draft that's sitting there, I'm not saying you don't take a receiver. I'm saying if he's sitting there, see, this is how we got into this situation now where everybody wants to bench Trevor Lawrence. You know why they want to bench Trevor Lawrence? Because most of them thought just get Trevor and get out of the way. I heard it. I saw it. It's not get one player and get out of the way. Get a fast receiver. Okay, you got one fast guy. Are you a fast team now? You see my point? And you can't get to being a fast team until you start taking fast players. And I get it. But the priority that I'm talking about, just because I say something about the offensive line doesn't mean I don't understand that they need receivers. And doesn't mean I don't understand they need receivers worse than they need offensive linemen. I'm just telling you that just because you want something and need something, if it's not there available to you, don't force it and just go grab anybody. Passing up a great player. They can do both in the offseason. I know the offense is atrocious, but just other day, just a month ago, we thought the defense was terrible and they needed a pass rusher and a corner. All of a sudden, Tyson Campbell looks legit, looks like he can play, looks like the things the team was saying about him is true. All of a sudden now, they finally got something out of Taven. So sometimes when you start cherry picking, that's what you always end up being, a cherry picker. Nobody's saying that they don't need wide receivers. Anybody with a brain knows they need wide receivers. I said it last year and I said it this year. And I think my friend John Shipley for SI, before the season even starts, said that they're going to be looking for an alpha receiver. It's also why I said they should have entertained the thought of Julio Jones. Yeah. So when you see the offense, I'm not talking about the biggest thing that they're missing. I'm talking about just get the best player you have. If you think Evan Neal is Jonathan Ogden, there is no way you don't take him. And you address receiver in round 2. Get the Williams kid from Alabama. Sign Gallup in the offseason. Sign Cortland. Just because I said one thing does not mean, and this is targeted to several people, does not mean that I don't get that they don't need receivers. You sign Michael Gallup and Cortland Sutton, swing twice in free agency. There you go. You got guys that can run and guys that can win. Now, if you're sitting there at number 3, if you want to, take Chris Olave. Do it. I don't care. But the bottom line is this. You can get receivers all you want, and they'll make you more competitive. They'll make you more competitive. But you have to not be willing to just look past great players while you're doing it. I'll give you a perfect example. Everybody on the worldwide leader was sitting there talking about last week how great of a fit Kansas City was for Odell Beckham. They need Odell. They need Odell. They already got the fastest wide receiver in the NFL on their team. So, but the people were right. They did need Odell. You know why? Because having one fast dude, no matter how fast he is, ain't fast enough. I hope my point is clear. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit. But as I was looking over my outline, I just got incensed with the fact that folks act like you can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. I didn't say anything about not taking a receiver. I simply just stated the fact that the last 7 or 8 minutes of the quarter showed me exactly what I'm talking about. Can you commit to the guys you have now just because they're safe? Or if you have the opportunity to get better, would you be willing to do it? Because it's going to protect the quarterback. I'm going to talk about people talking about that quarterback needs to be benched. We're going to have to start taking some people's football cards. I'm going to do it in the third final segment here on Locked On Jaguars. I love Thanksgiving, and I know all of you love Thanksgiving too, because it gives you a chance to hang around your family and your friends. It also gives you a chance to eat some really, really good food while you give thanks for all of the things that you have in your life. Some of us are on a diet, and we can't eat the peach cobbler, and I can't eat I could probably eat cheesecake, but I can't eat a whole bunch of cake, which I don't like anyway. So I'll need a dessert while everybody else is having that picnic in their mouth on their palate because they're eating sweets. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get me a Built Bar because Built Bars are sweet. They're 100% chocolate. They're loaded with protein, and they don't have a whole bunch of calories, sugar, and all of that stuff that you absolutely do not need. Replace the coconut cream pie with a coconut Built Bar if that's your flavor. I'm going to go for the salted caramel because that's just how I roll, and you guys know that. Built Bar is the absolute truth, and you can get your share of them for Thanksgiving by going to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off of your order of Built Bars. Use the promo code LOCKED15 again for 15% off at built.com. Check them out over on Twitter at @bar_built for all of the latest Built Bar information. And if you're like me, you had a parlay ticket yesterday while you were on Bet Online, and I got busted up because the Bucs couldn't beat the Washington football team. It destroyed my 16 parlay, but that's all right. It was actually the first game I picked, too, that I thought was going to be a winner. But you can get another shot because the NBA is still rolling. Monday Night Football is here, and you can get another shot if you head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code, which is Locked On, and you'll receive that bonus. Basketball, football, everything you want. UFC, boxing is coming up. Your favorite Vegas casino games, all available in the 2021 season and beyond at BetOnline because it's your fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, speaking of starting, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence, who's the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who some fans have now started to cry out, whether it's on social media, whether it's on radio, saying that he needs to be benched and we got to put C.J. Beathard in the game. That is absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard people say, and we're going to start pulling football permission slips from people and giving these hall passes away to anybody that says that their kid needs to be benched, and you don't understand two things. One, while the line has protected, for the most part really well, he doesn't have weapons. And then the offensive design, it's either a reflection of the fact that he doesn't have those weapons, or it's just a reflection of two things. One, he doesn't have weapon, and two, Darrell Bevell has no idea what he's doing. I don't know, how they're going to fix it. It's not a quick fix. Like I said, it's not like you're going to Home Depot and going down the wide receiver aisle and say, give me two of those fast all-pro wide receivers, and you're just going to check out at the counter. That's not the way this works. The way this works is you have to scout, you have to draft, you have to hope people want to come here in free agency. You have to sometimes outspend people. And then you have to just understand that it takes more than one. One fast football player does not make you a fast team. And I think they took the approach last year that they were just going to go, let's get Travis Etienne. There you go, home run guy, fast guy. No, he hurt. But even if he wasn't hurt, he'd be probably doing what Jamal Agnew's doing right now, and that would still make you slow. So how many of those guys can you put on the field at one time? Can is having Travis Etienne, Jamal Agnew, and James Robinson on the field at once, is it feasible? Because if it's not something that you can figure out, you need to start figuring out how you can draft guys that don't play those positions that those guys play, and you can have them all on the field. This is the point. You need them all on the field at one time. So if you got three quote-unquote running back types on the field at once, you only allowed 11 people. So sometimes I try to, figure this out. People think, well, this is why you just need to get good football players. And I keep saying this over and over and over again. Aiming to just get guys that just do that one thing that you need, you think that one element, you limit the pool of people, you limit yourself. Because what you're going to do is, let me tell you a story. I told the story last week when I was in the military. We was on a fire team. It's 4 people. And if you're anybody who's been in field situations, they understand a fire team. The one thing about all of us on our fire team, when I was on the anti-terrorism protection group, we all we all carried different weapons. Well, 2 of us carried the same weapon, but the other 2 carried different weapons. But we were all certified on all 4. You get it? There was three weapons, but two of the guys with the same weapon had a different. Okay, it was an AR, both with ARs, but one had a grenade launcher on it. Okay, so that's why I say same weapon. And then we had a guy with a 50 cal, and then we had a guy with a pistol and a shotgun. So lots of weapons. The difference is we were trained on all of them. We knew how to do everything. And they told us that our adversaries at the time were different from us because what they didn't do was have guys that were multiple. They had guys, if you took one guy out of a fire team, they essentially lose the weapon and the capability to use that weapon because that's how they were built and we were different. So we had more value to each other. And this is what the Jaguars need to do. They need to have guys that have more value to each other. If you just get a guy, all he is there for 9 routes, you're telling on yourself and people just going to know how to play it. If you just get a guy who all he is a red zone target and you're going to throw him a fade pattern, you're going to stack 3 guys on one side, put him on the other side, one-on-one with a corner, and he's tall, and everybody in the whole arena or the whole stadium can go, they're about to throw a fade to that dude. It's a jump ball. That doesn't work. And then you got a whole bunch of guys on your team that all they're good for is one thing. How about getting just a good football player that just knows how to play? I gave you the examples at the beginning of the wide receivers. Everyone says we need speed at receiver, and then those same people say we need to go and back a Brinks truck up to Devontae Adams. Yeah, he can run, but he ain't fast. He just knows how to play, and he knows how to win. He knows how to win. And if you think the Jaguars have enough guys out there on that field to make Trevor Lawrence look like he's winning, you're crazy. He's not as bad as his play indicated. But the thing about it is, and this bewilders me now, and this is where we got to do some we got to look in the mirror at ourselves. Any and everybody that said that he wasn't a finished product, y'all called them haters. Anybody that said that he's got some technical stuff he needs to work out, y'all told him to shut up. They don't need to be on TV. This is why you have to be careful in football and thinking that one guy changes everything. I made a statement at the beginning in the offseason when I knew they were going to take Trevor. I said they got a chance to really, really do something and make it special. But if they take him, they have to put the right stuff around him because this could either be dynasty or it could just be you ruin the kid. You David Carter's kid out of the league in 5 years, and that's wrong. I don't think that's what they're doing. But they missed a golden opportunity this offseason to get that thing off to a little bit of a better start. And I think we'd all agree. But he does not need to be benched for the backup. As long as he's not mentally broken, I think he's fine. He doesn't need to be benched. That's just my opinion. I'll tell you what else doesn't need to be benched, and that's you guys stepping up and being my first listen every day. I am so proud and honored to host this podcast for you every day here on Locked On Jaguars. You need to check out the Peacock and Williamson podcast to make that your second listen of the day. Brian Peacock is an NFL analyst, and Matt Williamson is a former NFL scout, and they really put it together real well and are really basically the flagship show about the NFL for the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure you check them out, the Peacock and Williamson podcast. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. We're going to see y'all tomorrow, man. It's not all bad. The Jaguars at least have some life defensively. And we're going to highlight a little bit of that tomorrow and talk about some of the things. And yes, I'm going to mention how they can also improve the defense. Don't get mad at me when the defensive unit is fine, but they can also improve the defense. There are people out there right now that want to sign 4 wide receivers in free agency and use the entire draft on wide receivers because, lo and behold, if you say a good part of the team can be improved, you're going to get your head snapped off. But that's all right. We built for it because we grow heads right back here on Locked On Jaguars. Y'all take care. We'll see you guys on tomorrow.